So I made a video a while back talking about BlazBlue English voice acting. I remember talking about Central Fiction, how I missed the dub and everything like that. But I just want... I'm no expert in voice acting, but I want to just talk about BlazBlue's English voice acting. Just once again, just to ramble about it. Because I don't know how to express my thoughts properly. It's so good to me that when I look at these BlazBlue characters, I can immediately recognize their English voice acting just by looking at the character alone. Like, oh, I look at someone like Makoto. Hey, that's Cindy Robinson. Oh, I look at Celica. Hey, that's Carrie Savage. I look at Ragna. Patrick Seitz. It's so easy to just look at these characters and know that their voice work was so damn good that you can't see them as anyone else. Like, I look at someone like, let's say Ragna, right? I look at Ragna, I don't see Tomokazu Sugita, I see Patrick goddamn Seitz, because for me personally, and this is just my opinion, all what I'm going to say in this entire video is just my opinion, right? If everybody loves Sugita and all their Japanese voice actors, that's fair, okay? That the preferences, okay? But I look at Ragna, and I can just hear just Patrick Seitz, like his entire soul being bared onto the character. The one thing I can always say about BlazBlue is that these voice actors for these characters give it their all. Like, there's something about the voice actors, it's not even just the voice actors in general because they're all good, but it's when they play these characters, they feel as if though they are the character. And that's why I call damn good voice acting. Like someone like Rachel, right? Yeah, Kana Ueda's pretty good. But when I hear Mela Lee as Rachel, it feels as if she was meant for this role. And that goes for every single goddamn character on this roster. I see Kagura, God rest Keiji Fujiwara's soul. And I'm not here to diss on him at all. Like, he was a good voice actor, and I hope he rests in peace. But when I look at Kagura, I just see Grant George, you know? I can't see him as no one else. But I can't see him as Keiji Fujiwara. Again, God said rest his soul. I guess Kagura wasn't the best example. That probably made me seem kind of evil. I'm sorry. Move on to Noelle, right? Noelle Vermillion. Christina V, right? Christina V, she does a great job at just differentiating Noelle from Lambda from New, right? And again, Kanaka Kondo does the same thing. But I feel it's better with just with Christina V, because I can feel her work being put into these characters, you know. Now, granted, Lambda didn't really come to her own until Alter Memory, which you didn't hear much of her there. But she does come here in Chrono Phantasma, and she doesn't. You don't get to hear Christina V as Lambda much because Lambda doesn't really have that many lines, and you only get to enjoy her for 2 games really, and the anime, but. Making the crazy New so different from Noelle, her soft baby Noelle, it's really good. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, there's something about these voice actors. They are so damn good that, like, when I look at the character, they have to be these characters. Like if BlazBlue was dubbed first, I feel as though these characters would fit them. Like, I couldn't look at someone like Ragna and say, who else could he be? If I didn't hear him as Patrick Seitz at first, then he couldn't be no one else. You know, if I didn't hear Jin as David Vincent, he couldn't be no one else. If I didn't hear Celica as Carrie Savage, no. And this is where we get into the argument of like, okay, what about Bang and Terumi? If people didn't know, and obviously everyone knows, that Bang and Terumi, or Hazma, this case technically, they used to have different English voice actors before, Chrono Phantasma came around. Bang had, I'm trying to remember, it's Tony Oliver was his original voice actor in BlazBlue's Calamity Trigger and Continuum Shift. And then when Chrono Phantasma, or technically Continuum Shift, Extend, because they had the updated voice actors Continuum Shift Extend, I think. Because I know Eric Davies, Doug Erholtz, I'm dumb. Doug Erholtz came around Extend. I might be wrong, it's been a minute. But I think when Extend came around, then the voice actors changed. I might be wrong. But but they really only used them for like one thing anyway, and that was the damn Calamity Trigger reconstruction anyway. But you know, I hear a lot of people, they make the argument of, hey, well, I guess technically Hazma had 3 voice actors because there was also Spike Spencer, but we don't talk about we don't like Spike Spencer's good. He does a very good Arcune, but he is no Hazma and Terumi. Like you just hear angry Shinji Ikari, and I can't get that out of my head. But anyway, going back to Hazma / Bang. You know, you hear, like, you know, people make the argument like, hey, Eric Davies was really good. Tony Oliver was really good for Bang. And, you know what, personally for me, they were decent. You know, I honestly, going back to games like Calamity Trigger and Continuous Shift feels so weird, because I personally believe Steve Kramer does a good job as Bang. You can hear him more hot-blooded. You can hear a little roughness in his voice. I'm not very good at voice acting, so I don't know how to describe it. You hear the bass in Bang's voice, because I could feel that Tony Oliver would work well for him. I'm sorry, my bad. Steve Kramer works well for him. Going back when I played Calamity Trigger Continuous Shift, I heard, you know, Tony Oliver Bang again, and it just didn't feel right. Granted, that's probably for all the hours I put into Chrono Phantasma, and that's all I can hear is Bang. But there's something missing, you know? There's just something missing. Like, it just makes Bang lean into the cartoony aspect. Which I guess technically Bang was like kind of a joke character in Calamity Trigger and Continuous Shift, so he fit back then. But this different Bang that, you know, has more emphasis put on him, more characters, like, you know, being more of a character now and important. I feel as though he needs to have a more mature voice to fit with that character. Again, Tony Oliver Bang isn't bad. It's just something about him that I just never liked, even to this day. But I can't say I didn't like him. He had his moments. He was actually really, really funny. I guess I could say Tony Oliver was funny Bang and Steve Kramer is serious Bang, if that makes sense. But, you know, yeah. But, you know, again, Steve Kramer has his moments too. You know, there was like that encounter what Bang had with, I think, with Noelle and Chrono Phantasma, and I think that was a really funny moment with Steve Kramer. There's still some good moments he has. Like, he still keeps Bang's charm to him, and I think that he works better than Tony Oliver does. But then we get into like the big guns, and by the big guns I mean like Eric Davies versus Doug Erholtz as Hazma / Terumi. Like, I think that, like, I can't honestly hear Eric Davies anymore when I think about him. It's just, again, there was something off about Eric Davies back in the day. Even when I didn't, even before the voice actor changed. I just never liked Eric Davies as Hazma. I feel like there was something he was lacking, you know? Like, I don't know what it was, and I still can't explain it today, but I always feel like there was something lacking. And people like Eric Davies. People really like Eric Davies as Hazma, and I get it. Like, he's the very first one you saw. He made the biggest impression. So I can get why people like Eric Davies as Hazma / Terumi so much, but there was just something about him that I never liked. I think it was because his portrayal as Hazma that didn't hit me as much, you know? I feel like him as Hazma wasn't very good, but when he did Terumi, it was actually, you know, I could actually get it, why people liked him. His Hazma just didn't hit me. There was something about him, like I think he tried too hard to sound like suave and cool like Hazma could have sounded. And then when, you know, Doug Erholtz came in, he made Hazma sound a lot better in my opinion. And then when he goes Terumi, I can hear like Doug Erholtz going batshit insane in the studio. I like that. But Eric Davies, I feel like he only worked as half of the character. Hazma, he just didn't work too well for me. I kind of did not like him as Hazma. But when he goes Terumi, yeah, I definitely liked him then because he just was so damn hammy and off the walls. It worked for him. I feel like if they split the voice actors up, right, I know this would be very jarring. And don't get me wrong, Doug Erholtz fits Terumi to a T in my opinion. But I feel as though if they kept both actors, right, if Davies was Terumi and Erholtz was Hazma, I think things would have been better, at least in my opinion. But again, they really, you know, couldn't have done that. But I can only imagine if that was the case, though. I can only imagine if that was the case. That would be so effing stupid. But I would love it. But yeah, I personally feel like Erholtz does a good job, and I personally feel like Eric Davies did a good job as Terumi rather than Hazma. If, you know, that would work better. Then there's also the argument of like, okay, what about Hawkman? See, Hawkman is a weird case because he's been there, David Vincent the entire time. Duh. You know, this is Jin we're talking about. So, I remember when Cross Tag Battle came out, right? They kind of reverted Davy's performance back to his Calamity Trigger and Continuum Shift kind of voice, where he was a lot lighter. And then when I played Chrono Phantasma again, I can barely even hear Vincent in the way that he used to be because he was a lot deeper, and it did separate him a lot from Jin. See, the one thing I like about Chrono Phantasma's portrayal of Hawkman is that because Vincent's voice is really deep and with the voice filter on like that, you can definitely hear the difference between him and Jin. Like back in the day, you can definitely tell David Vincent is just still Jin with a voice filter on, just with his voice slightly dropped. But in Chrono Phantasma, you can definitely hear the two differentiate apart, and I like that. And then in Cross Tag Battle, they kind of I guess they didn't give the memo. To Vincent, tell him, yeah, dude, yeah, have your voice this deep or something like that. I don't know. I honestly don't know how voice acting works, but I don't know. I just like Hawkman's Chrono Phantasma self. It's just like his voice is so goddamn deep. You can definitely tell him apart. He's a lot more menacing that way, and I feel like it carries Hawkman a lot over that way. But whatever. There's also the very first game, like Chrono Phantasma was a game that introduced the English voice actors for Bullet, Azrael, Amane. Yeah, that's okay. That was it. Yeah, that was it. Because technically Selka too, and yeah, all the other characters. I keep every time I play Chrono Phantasma, I keep forgetting who are the characters introduced for this game that weren't already in the previous game. That gets me every time. I can't count Izuyori because she's still Tsubaki at the end of the day. I can't count her. I can't count Lambda because Lambda was already here, and I can't count Terumi because he was always Hazama, which means he was technically always here. So yeah. Now I honestly can't. I don't have any complaints. Actually, I don't have any complaints about the English voice acting in BlazBlue in general. Like, I guess some people have their gripes, but I will forever shill this cast of characters because I feel like every single voice fits them to a T. No joke. I do not. Look, I can't help it. I literally can't help it. Like, the BlazBlue has one of the best performances one of the best English voice acting in any medium I have ever consumed. And I watch mostly nothing but dubs. So when I actually say that, I can actually mean something, Like, the voice acting is so top tier, full of personality, all these wacky characters, that it just hits you, right? If I could just have a voice clip of Patrick Sykes saying Carnage Scissors, like, without any context. Let's say my memory was wiped, right? Actually not wiped. My memory was suppressed. Let's say if my memory was suppressed, right? I could vaguely remember BlazBlue, but I can't remember anything about it, right? And especially the voice acting. If I heard Patrick Sykes go Carnage Scissors, I feel like a part of my memory will unlock. And then I would immediately know that's Rogna again. Like, I just can't do it. Like, I took the time, right? I took the time to play I guess Central Fish doesn't count because it doesn't have a dub, but I took the time to play every game from Calamity Trigger all the way to Chrono Phantasma with the sub on, which is Japanese voices. And a lot of feeling was just lost for me. Now, I guess I can only say that because I've heard these guys in the same language for so long that if I tried changing to something else, it wouldn't be the same. And I'm not lying that some of these characters' voice acting in Japanese is really good. For example, Ayumi Fujimura as 9. I think she's my personal favorite out of the entire Japanese cast because she does a good job as 9, like a really good job. Like, if 9 was in Japanese forever, I still wouldn't have cared, but Amanda Celine Miller is also really good 9, but Ayumi Fujimura is really good as 9, but for me, that's the only exception. Like, if I were given a choice between Ayumi Fujimura and Amanda Celine Miller as 9, I couldn't choose between the two. I literally could, because I personally think they do a good job. But in the case of me, think about all these BlazBlue voice actors, and again, I don't want to downplay the efforts of the Japanese voice cast because they do an amazing job, don't get me wrong, but like, it just feels so much cleaner in English, you know? Like, it feels so good to hear these characters talk. I could literally do nothing but just go to training mode, swap between characters, do their attacks, and just hear the voices for hours on end. I could constantly go back to the Chrono Phantasma story mode and listen to that forever, again and again, which I have. I have played through Chrono Phantasma's base story so many times just because the voice acting was that damn good. You would never catch me doing that in Central Fiction because it's just not fun to go through without the cast. Like, they make it so much fun to listen to this game, to listen to these characters. Like, I gave my gripes on Platinum's character, but hearing her as Laura Bailey giving the shit to characters as Luna is so good. I can forgive Platinum's entire bullshittery if I could just hear her as Laura Bailey giving the shit to people. And I am kind of sad that she's Alexis Tipton now in Cross Tag Battle. Don't get me wrong, Alexis Tipton's really good, but she's not Laura Bailey Platinum good, you know? Like, I honestly just don't, it's not the same, you know what I mean? But yeah, like, Platinum as Laura Bailey, dude, too much funny shit. Like, she's just so good because you can just hear Laura Bailey just snap. Just snappiness. Just her straight up bratty ass kid. And it's so good. Like, normally, like, Japanese, like, girl characters, like if Platinum as Aoyuki grates on my nerves. Aoyuki's good, but they lean way too hard into the bratty kid. Like, I guess one thing I hate about, like, some Japanese female voice actors when they try to play children, like, really annoying children, they, don't get me wrong, they get the point across of them being annoying, but my patience can only stretch so far. So when I hear Laura Bailey as Platinum giving the shit, it flows so much better because I can hear it and at the same time get a laugh out of it. I can't get a laugh as Aoyuki as Platinum in Japanese because she is so annoying, dude. But when I hear as Laura Bailey in English, I can laugh because she's extremely funny and the writing is on point too. Like, one thing about BlazBlue, it's like a hurdle for people to get over. It's the story, right? You know, it's a story of visual novel format. Not everyone's going to be in the visual novels, but I feel like the voice acting for this game is so good that it can turn a person who's not really into visual novels into a person who would stick with this game. That's what I personally believe. I played a lot of visual novels, but, you know, I didn't really play too much, you know what I mean? Like, I played a good amount, a lot of Fate, because back then Fate was so freaking huge. Well, it wasn't as huge back then as it is now. So, like, playing it made me feel like I was some kind of, like, god because I knew all of this shit, crazy shit that no one else knew about servants and masters and all that jazz, you know? So, playing BlazBlue, I feel like, damn, dude, this game's actually really, really good. Now, again, gripes, you know, there's some gripes with the story, but I feel like the voice acting, the English voice acting is so entertaining to me that I can get past the bullshit and just keep on going. Like, don't even get me started with the gag reels, dude. Like, okay, you know, actually, before we even get to gag reels, can I just talk about just when the characters get into some emotionally heated moments, then they just start to go great. Like, the scene of Ragnar trying to come to terms with himself when he goes against Azrael is so good because you could just definitely hear SLIDESHOW as Ragnar trying to, you know, come to grips with it all. Like, you know, like, I just feel it, you know, like I could watch that scene on end again and again. But anyway, moving on from that, the gag reels. Holy mother of God. I'm going to tell you guys this. The gag reels are where the voice acting peaks and then beyond. Like let me just talk about Chrono Phantasma, because I feel like Chrono Phantasma is the outlier of the BlazBlue series, because for me personally, it has the best of the voice acting available in the entire franchise. You know, don't get me wrong, Calamity Trigger and Continuum Shift, I mean, without them, I wouldn't be in the BlazBlue, but there's something about that old voice acting that I can go back to and enjoy, right? But I feel like Chrono Phantasma peaked. It peaked. It peaked with the voice acting. Damn, dude. Like, going to this gag reels, the 17 gag reels in this game, I might add, and Chrono Phantasma extend, you just hear the voice actors just go stupid. Like, it feels like they were told to just read the lines in any way they could have to fit the scene, and they did. They go so stupid that these gag reels become memorable for me. It's not about the characters in the gag reel that becomes like memorable, it's just how they're portrayed in these gag reels. Like, for example, let me talk about Celica's first errand. Because, like, Celica's just, like, acting alone in that gag reel is funny to me because it's like Carrie Savage just trying to come up with an excuse to how to, like, actually, that's not even it. Hold on. Ragna. There we go. Ragna. Ragna in these gag reels are so good. Like, Ragna's a good character, but don't get me wrong, but, like, he's so goddamn perfect in these gag reels. It's unbelievable. Like, again, as I talked about before, Celica's first errand. Him getting more frustrated as time goes on about having to get the Celica on the right path cannot be just sold short. I can, like, I'm laughing, I'm giggling, I'm about to giggle, think about it now, because without even watching it, I can remember why Ragna was so pissed, how his voice changed, how he gets pissed, and it's so good. Another gag reel I like about Ragna is him in, God, no. What's another personal favorite of mine? It's that pirate ship one, right? The pirate ship one in Continuum Shift, like, when they're trying to find a elusive Crimson Grimoire, or whatever. I think it was called something. I think it was called Crimson Grimoire. And just hearing the characters trying to, like, act is just the funniest shit. Like, hearing Carl go, "Sister," makes me lose my shit every time. Despite watching the gag reel repeatedly again and again, hearing Carl just act so dumb, like Michelle Ruff as Carl acts so stupid, makes me lose my mind every time because it's just, delivery is so on point, it kills me every time. Hearing Ragna scream like a little girl, hearing that now him, Tager, and Rachel are ghosts, drops, like, makes me just fall to the floor laughing. Even after watching these gag reels repeatedly, the character's voice acting is so good that I could just keep coming back again and again and again and again and again. It's maddening. It's so maddening. Just like Ragna, like, just, okay, look, everyone does really well in the gag reels, but I think, like, characters like Ragna and Rachel, my bad, Ragna and Platinum hit their zenith in these gag reels. All these gag reels make Ragna suffer in some form or another. And just hearing how Ragna normally is outside of that, and hearing him in the gag reels trying to, like, just, like, come to grips with everything and handle it, is amazing. Patrick Seitz does him so well that, again, I can't hear him as someone else, because I tried to watch the gag reels in Central Fiction, and they weren't the same. They weren't the same. Like, it just, there was something missing, and I think, I don't know how to describe this, but there's soul in the voices of these BlazBlue characters that I can't get with the Japanese cast. You know, again, as I said before, the Japanese cast put a lot of work into their stuff. And it's not even it's not even a language barrier that is the reason, because honestly, I've heard amazing Japanese voice work before. Like, I'm not going to name examples now because that would be too many. But they're, like, they put a lot of hard work and stuff into their voice acting. But, like, I think BlazBlue's special to me because they do so well with their lines and their deliveries for these characters that it just doesn't feel the same either way. Like, the one thing I like about BlazBlue is that, like, even during the slower moments, and sometimes you may hear a character slip up once in a while, it's not so bad where I can just sit up and call out on it. And even if it's not very good to someone else, it's still good to me. You know? Like, I don't know how to describe it, but there's something about these voice actors that make BlazBlue BlazBlue. I think that's why people were so up in arms about it, like Central Fiction not getting a dub, and because the dub of BlazBlue is just that damn good to, like, override shit. Like, it's so amazing to me how well these characters are portrayed by their English voice actors. You know, some English anime have hit or misses, you know? Some dubs may not be good. For example, there's one anime that I believe that misses the entire mark, and that's the Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2's anime. Every voice actor on that anime is terrible, except one. And if everyone's bad, I mean, yeah, you can, you know, get a laugh out of it because they're so bad, but like, at the end of the day, it's just, it won't make you remember them in a more positive light because you're constantly thinking about how terrible they are. In the case of BlazBlue, everyone is so damn good that it will make you remember them forever. At least I would. Like, I don't know. I didn't want to make this really emotional and sappy, and I'm honestly losing my words a lot. I apologize. But there's too much good in BlazBlue's English cast, especially in Chrono Phantasma. There's too much good here that didn't get to carry over into Central Fiction, and that still bums me out. Like, knowing what they did with Cross Tag Battle, right? How they had Billy Camus as Naoto, who did an amazing job. How they got Ray Chase as Susanoo, which they did an amazing job. How they got Eden Regal as S, who did an amazing job. They know how to pick these voice actors, right? The localization team or whoever's handling these voice actors, choosing roles, they know what they're doing. I never doubted the localization team for a second when they choose these voice actors because they pick the right voices for every single character with no misses. That's one thing I could say, and I'll make that a meme if I have to. The localization team, when they pick the voice actors, they don't miss. Never. I don't care what anyone says. There are no misses on this roster. Come fight me. But yeah, it's a shame that some of these characters didn't get to carry over to Central Fiction. Like, I would have loved to play Central Fiction with a full English voice cast because Billy Camus would have been amazing to hear in the gag reels with that girl game shit. I can hear him do that because he did such an amazing job in Cross Tag Battle. His delivery and lines are on point because like they know what they were doing. They picked the right voice actor for the job. And I personally believe that goes all the way to like, you know, characters like S, who, you know, S doesn't really do much in Central Fiction properly, but what you hear of her in Cross Tag Battle is really well done. Eden Regal does a good S. And I personally believe Ray Chase does an excellent Susanoo. People like Ray Chase, and him as Susanoo was just a good choice. It wasn't my choice, but that out of nowhere choice and the fact that he fits Susanoo so well, it works really well. And it's a shame that we don't get to hear that in Central Fiction. Cross Tag Battle, I'm glad that's at least here so we can hear what these characters would have sounded like in English. I'm glad that Cross Tag Battle's here just because of that sole reason alone. But, you know, characters like Tao, I like Tao. I don't like her all that much in Japanese because she kind of grates on my nerves there, and no offense to, you know, her voice actress, my bad. But her as Felice Sampler in English is really, really, really good, and she's funny as all God out. Like, I just don't know what to say about that. Like, these characters, they have so much life and personality in just the English voice acting, to the point it makes me, like, just my own IRL headcanon is that, like, these guys were just meant to be in English, you know? Like, if I were to create a series, right? If I were to create BlazBlue from scratch, and I already had in my head what voice actors would pick for these characters, this would be it. Honestly. Like, Relius as Travis Willingham, he's so good and sinister at the same time. I love it. You can hear how charismatic he is, but also how, you know, there's that underlining evil and, you know, piece of shit dad that he is. You can hear that, you know? DC Douglas as Azrael, you can hear how angry and pissy he gets when he's fighting against Ragna. He's, you know, yelling, "Oh, you have this power, why don't you just use it?" But then you can hear him in his more, I guess I can't call laid back mode, but in his more like, you know, laid back self, you can hear how suave and smooth his voice is. You know, you can hear that. And characters like Tsubaki, who I don't like all that much, Julianne Taylor does so amazing with her. You know, even hearing her justice speeches and all that shit, I'm actually leaning forward and just to absorb all her words because Julianne Taylor is just that damn good as both her and Kokonoe. See, the one thing I like about some of these voice actors that share characters, that even with the same voice actor, they make them feel like completely different characters, which obviously in Japanese, Kokonoe and Tsubaki don't share the same voice actors. But in English, they do. Julianne Taylor makes Tsubaki and Kokonoe so far off from each other that at first I didn't even know they were the same person. I never knew that. It took me to playing freaking Chrono Phantasm Extend just to know that. It took me, let's see here, BlazBlue came out, my first BlazBlue came out in 2010. And all the way to, it took me 5 years. It took me 5 years to recognize they were completely different. Julianne Taylor makes Kokonoe sound like the best snarky cat woman ever. Like, she's so goddamn funny that it just doesn't come off the same way in Japanese. The same thing goes for Tsubaki. It's like these characters are completely off the spectrum in a different way, but at the same time, because they share the same thing, because the same English voice actors they have, she makes them go off in completely different directions. This isn't like a whole like Noelle, New, and Lambda situation. They're obviously meant to be different, and they obviously share the same voice actors in Japanese and English. And it doesn't count for Platinum as well, because obviously, you know, Luna and Cinda and Trinity, they're all the same, essentially in the same kind of category, right? They are related to the character in the same category, but not Tsubaki and Kokonoe. And I feel like it works better that way, because like it's, or characters like Hosma and Terumi, but like they have the same English voice actors for a reason, because like they have relationships with those characters. Hey, Hosma and Terumi, duh. Mu, Noelle, Lambda, and New, duh. Freaking like Izuyoi and Tsubaki, duh. But like Tsubaki and Kokonoe sharing the same English voice actress, it works in the strangest ways. You know, like I feel like if someone else was Kokonoe, it just wouldn't be the same. You know, like Julianne Taylor was just meant to be both Tsubaki and Kokonoe, no doubt in my mind. And like I made a video about, you know, English voice actors in BlazBlue that's portrayed as the characters I didn't like all that much. For example, I kind of ragged on Valkenhan's Japanese voice actor. I don't like Valkenhan's Japanese voice actor, and I will, like, again, I don't meant to downplay the works of, you know, what their works, my bad, their portrayals and everything, but it just doesn't work. Like, I don't hear the sophisticated, but yet, how to describe Valkenhan? He's sophisticated, he's educated, he's a smart man, but you know, him and his werewolf side, he's able to get angry and throw down. I don't hear that in Japanese. It just doesn't come off the same. And I think it's even worse when he's talking. Just talking. What kills me in Japanese. It's like his voice actor is, like, I don't know how old his Japanese voice actor is, but it just doesn't work the same, you know? Like, I feel like he's on the verge of dying every time he speaks a line, and that kind of bums me out. Like, again, I don't know how old his Japanese voice actor is, and I apologize for making that kind of comparison, because I felt like that was a little bit cruel on my end. But his voice actor sounds like he's on the verge of just dying in the studio every time he speaks a line, and that's just not Valkenheim. But yeah, anyway, that's all I wanted to really say, guys. I didn't want to drag this out any further because, like, you know, sorry for that really abrupt ending there. This is like post-recording bullshit. Can I just talk about Arakune as Spike Spencer? I didn't give much talk about him in particular and how his lines worked, because like Spike Spencer doesn't have like some kind of crazy voice thing that's kind of stop his words. He has to kind of do that himself, which is really amazing. Again, I don't know if the Japanese voice acting does it. I have no freaking idea. I try to tune out Arakune when he's in Japanese, but I know Spike Spencer has to kind of do all that voice stuff himself, like, you know, how Arakune talks, and I find that really amazing. And on top of that, I kind of like how he fits both Arakune and Roy to a T. Like, it feels like Spike Spencer would fit Roy really good. And him as Arakune is actually pretty well done. You know, you can hear Spike trying to force out a crazy jelly boy as Arcune, or jelly boy Arcune. But yeah, I think he did an amazing job balancing the two out. Like there's just something about just Arcune just gets me every time. Hell, Michelle Ruff as Roy. Carl, I said Roy. Michelle Ruff as Carl. Like, I just don't, talk about much either. I don't talk about much of Carl anyway. But honestly, Michelle, like, if I were to look at these if I were to look at these characters without any English voice actors, I feel like I wouldn't have picked Michelle Ruff. Now, she's a good choice, but like if I were to look at this character without any, if these characters didn't have any English voice acting at all, I have no idea what I would have picked for Carl. Honestly, the first person would have come to my head because of what he looks like would have been maybe Josh Grelle. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think he pronounced his name Josh Grelle, but yeah, I just picked Josh Grelle for everyone because I have no freaking idea who these guys will be. Like, look at these characters all automatically. I have no idea who I could have picked. So like, I give major props to the localization team and like whoever handles these dubs, like whoever handled the choosing of the voice actors for the dubs. I give them major props because they definitely know what they were doing, man. They knew. They have whoever they were. They need to be like ARCSYS. If ARCSYS ever decides to dub a new game, like a new IP or something, they need whoever picked these voice actors on the localization team to pick more English voice actors. They know, dude. They know how to pick good shit. They were the ones who did the Under Night cast, and I think they did a pretty amazing job. They did the Under Night cast, and I feel like people want to rag on Carmine, but I think he does a great. I think Greg Chun does a great Carmine. I don't care what anyone says. They can pick the voice actor to fit these characters. They know what they're doing. So like, I personally believe that, yeah, if ARCSYS ever decided to have a new IP or dub any other games again, they're dubbing Strive. We don't have confirmation who's going to be on Strive, but if I were to guess, everyone's from XR's, coming back, which, yeah, everybody did a good job in XR. I believe so. I think everybody did an amazing job, except maybe Soul, but, with a little bit of, direction. I feel like they could work with Soul a little bit better. But anyway, yeah, ARCSYS dubbing doesn't miss. They know what they're doing. Holy shit. Damn it. I was about to give them praise for Grand Blue, but I forgot Xseed did that shit. Xseed and Xseed? Yeah, Xseed, yeah, they handle that shit, so. Yeah. ARCSYS, they know what they're doing. You guys are insane bastards. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. I just wanted to add this little part at the end of the video just to talk about a little bit more. There's some things I didn't get to talk about much more, like Teach Me Miss Lychee. Honestly, I love the characterization in Teach Me Miss Lychee too. I just love these characters just trying to teach us things, and all the other characters trying to come to grips of how to learn this shit. Like, remembering Makoto losing her shit trying to figure out how, like, the whole idea of Celica working and, like, how she worked as a Crow Phantasma will forever make me lose my mind. The fact that they went to the trouble of dubbing, like, the damn tutorial, just in Japanese and English, but anyway, the fact that they went to the trouble of, like, voicing the tutorial mode and, like, all of the all the basics and shit in there, like the lines, they never had to do that. Honestly, I think that's, like, just BlazBlue going above and beyond. Guilty Gear did the same thing too, but, like, the fact that they actually allow a dub to be in, like, the goddamn tutorial and, like, for every line and keep going. Like, it's not like some cop-out where they just, like, give you a ton of text to work with. No, they dub every major line they put in the tutorial, and it's maddening, dude. Like, peak Blaze. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Just for the dub alone, peak BlazBlue game. Chrome Phantasmic Stand. Don't at me. No one can stop me now. Oh, man. But, yeah, I really do love BlazBlue's dubs so goddamn much. They dubbed a lot of shit in this game, dude. All the arcade mode, the massive story mode, and all the story bits within. They did the entirety of Remix Hard Guiding for Chrome Phantasmic Extend, the Teach Me the Lychee stuff, everything, all the actual voice lines. They even did loc tests, which they didn't even have to do. Now, if BlazBlue Dub could have done one thing, If one thing could have been dubbed in this game, my only gripe with the dubbing in these BlazBlue games is the fact that they don't let the system voices get a dub. And that sucks. Like, that really sucks, because system voices definitely need to be dubbed. They let XR system voices be dubbed. It's not fair, dude. They didn't let it in Calamity Trigger, they didn't let it in Continuum Shift, and they definitely didn't let it in Chrono Phantasma. I would have loved having Ragna as a system voice. I would have loved Jen, Noelle, Rachel, Tao, Tager, Lychee, Valkenheim, Makoto, Hazma, all these characters. They would have been great system voices. And the sad thing about Chrono Phantasma is that, like, they added, like, Izanami and Jubei to, like, the system voices, and Selka too. So, like, you know, no Carrie Savage system voice, no Kirk Thornton system voice, and no Kate Higgins system voice, which makes me so sad, because I hate when system voices aren't translated. They dubbed the damn Loke test voices, man. I mean, granted, they were just like one line, but damn it, dude. The system voices have been great, man. Like, hearing Ragna call freaking, like insult characters. Like, no, actually hearing, like, characters hearing Ragna insult characters in, like, English, like, when you choose them on the menu, would have been so good. That's why I don't even use the damn location voices all that much, because I can get what they're saying because I've been hearing that voice in Japanese for so long. But damn it, dude, games need to do that more. When they do system voices, they need to dub them, man. I swear to God, they need to do that. It makes me lose my shit when they don't dub the damn system voices, man. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax did it too. Well, granted, that does being handled by Atlas, but the point is, they still did it. They still did it, but, you know, whatever. There's a lot of voice lines in BlazBlue in English already, so I have nothing to complain about. And also, a tiny weird gripe to me is that, why didn't they dub the last line, like the last cutscene in the storyboard where Ragna's waking up and you see the embryo? That's so weird. I have no idea why they let that be in Japanese. I guess it's like a last minute decision. But considering all this last minute stuff made it already into the game anyway, it just feels weird. But it's not a big deal. It's just one cutscene. I just find it weird that they didn't decide to dub that cutscene. It feels weird. I have no idea why they didn't choose to do that when they had everything else alright, but I guess it was so last minute that dubbing it would have meant nothing, you know what I mean? So, you know, whatever. Then again, I guess it just didn't even freaking matter. But yeah, that's all I want to say about BlazBlue's dub. I really, really wish Central Fiction had it, man. To this day, I will never. Yeah, people will say, get over it, man. It's been years. Shut the F up. But I cannot shut the F up about this. BlazBlue's dub was so good that no matter how many dub mods you can add to Central Fiction, it just doesn't feel the same. It's just taking what we had in Chrono Phantasma and just dumping it into another game, or Cross Tag Battle too. Just ain't the same, you know? Like, I would love entirely a new dub for Cross Tag. I mean, sorry, Central Fiction, damn. Like, it's just, there's some things that we just never would have gotten. You know, like seeing Ragna's last moments talking with Saya in the end, Central Fiction, him talking to his last moments with Amane, and we can't hear that somber Ragna / Patrick Seitz voice lines because it will never exist. You know, like it's oh man, I didn't want to make this video depressing. I didn't want to, but I gotta go now. I legitimately have to leave before I start crying. I will cry if I think about Central Fiction anymore. I will legitimately cry. I'm not even kidding. It takes me a lot to show emotion and cry, but BlazBlue, I feel so strongly for the the English voice acting that I will cry if I think about Central Fiction one more moment. So now I'm actually leaving, guys. This is the actual end of the video. So yeah, I'll see you all next time. Sorry you spent so long for me talking about just this dumb shit alone. I really Really apologize for making you go through all this shit. I'm out, guys. Also, I didn't talk about Christina V as Noelle and, you know, them, but, you know, hey, Yandere, Christina V is pretty good. Cute, soft baby Noelle is pretty cute as Christina V. Epic Lambda is cute as Christina V, and a more authoritative Noelle as Moo by Christina V is pretty good. Okay, now I'm out.